Namaste, and welcome to our continuing series on the life divine with our beloved Ranga. We're on page 438, and we're going to go again with the first paragraph, but it may be questioned, and Ranga will continue with explanation.
I'll give you, before reading, I'll just give you the background so that everything is clear. The chapter is a cosmic illusion. Right? And what is a cosmic illusion? When by concentration and by an ascent of consciousness into the spiritual planes of consciousness, one manages to go there and lose identification with the body-mind life, then an experience takes place in which you feel that the physical world is unreal. You see them only as shadow forms, but they have no substance, no reality. They look like photographs or like pictures or only silhouettes. That's what Srindra is saying. And Shankara says, he explains this by saying that this illusion can be compared to 4 or 5 examples he gives. One of the examples he gives is a dream. When you are dreaming, it seems very real. But when you wake up, you see that the dream is not a reality at all. The reality then becomes the physical world. This is what Srindra is discussing. Okay? Now it's very similar to this actual experience. When you are in the physical body and identified with your body-mind life, you see the physical world as real. But when you wake up spiritually and you go outside your body-mind life, the consciousness then sees the subtle consciousness which is there in which you are, the self, or you can call it the self, the Brahmic consciousness. That is the reality, and the physical world in comparison seems to be absolutely unreal. So this is the experience that is being discussed. And Shankara has given the image of the dream. Okay? He has given many other examples also, but the main example is the dream. And Srindra is examining that and saying, let us see whether the analogy is applicable or not. Okay? So that's what he is looking at. The last sentence of the previous para I am reading, so far there is too great a disparateness between dream life and waking life to make the analogy applicable. So he's already got his doubts about how applicable can be the image of the dream. Okay, so he has given us many reasons why you cannot accept this analogy. First of all, dreams are something that begin and end. But in the physical world, there is no beginning and there is no end. It's a continuous series of events. What happened yesterday or day before yesterday continues to be real to you, but not so in the dream. What dream you had yesterday has no relation at all with what dream you may have today. So that is not acceptable. That's number one. Secondly, it is fleeting. The dream is fleeting. It just comes and disappears and never again occurs. There are cases where it occurs again, but that's not the point. So many reasons are there, and then also there is something in the dream. There is a chaotic condition of things. In the physical world, there is no chaotic condition. It's a continuous sequence of events which are related to each other. So because of these 3 reasons, Srindra says the analogy is not very applicable.
Would this be the same for a dream experience?
What do you mean by dream experience?
Mother tells me that it's not actually a dream, but it's actually something else.
That's exactly what he's going to discuss.
Very good.
That's exactly what he's going to discuss.
Very good.
Now he's saying, so I read the first sentence, but it may be questioned whether our dreams are indeed totally unreal and without significance, whether they are not a figure, an image dream, or a symbolic transcript or representation of things that are real. So Shankara, when he is using the image of dream, he is assuming but he is too intelligent and too developed a spiritual soul to think that the dream life is unreal. Okay, he is just giving it as an example. So, Srenda is saying that assumption we have to take and see whether it is real or not. Now, what is meant by reality? Okay, in the physical world also you see that there are some realities which are half real. Okay, for instance, a photograph. Okay, a photograph, or better still, an image in the mirror. Is it real or unreal? How will you define it? The image in the mirror is there so long as you are standing in front of it. As soon as you move out, there is no image. So, is it real or unreal? That's one example of a semi-reality. The other is the shadow that falls. It's a conditional reality. If the light that is throwing the shadow disappears, there is no shadow. So, this is what Srenda is going to discuss now. So, Srenda is saying, our dreams, are they really of that nature, or do they have a reality in another dimension? Okay, in another dimension. Okay. In a certain sense, what's happening in America now to me is only images and not the physical reality. So, for me, it is only half real. I assume that it is real and that it really exists, but that's an assumption. To me, it is not real. Okay, so a lot of trouble going on in America now with Trump. So, all that is not real to me. It's only I accept it as real. So, this is what Srenda is discussing. Now, he will show to you that dreams are not really unreal, but they are transcripts of realities in other fields, in other dimensions.
Other planes of existence?
Yeah. Huh?
Other planes of existence?
That's right, in other planes of existence. That's exactly what he's going to discuss and show you, and the discussion is very interesting. So, we'll have a look at that. But it may be questioned whether our dreams are indeed totally unreal. Note the word totally unreal. There can be semi-realities and without significance, whether they are not a figure, an image record, or a symbolic transcript or representation of things that are real. So, symbols, are they also real or unreal? Okay, these are the questions that he's going to discuss. For that, we have to examine, however summarily, the nature of sleep and of dream phenomena, their process of origination and their provenance. From where are the dreams coming and what is their nature? He is going to examine. What happens in sleep is that our consciousness withdraws from the field of its waking experiences. It is supposed to be resting, suspended, or in abeyance, but that's a superficial view of the matter. What is in abeyance is the waking activities. What is at rest in the surface? What is in abeyance is the waking activities. What is at rest is the surface mind and the normal conscious action of the bodily part of us. But the inner consciousness is not suspended. It enters into new inner activities, only a part of which, a part happening or recorded, is something of us that is near to the surface. We remember. There is maintained in sleep, thus near the surface, an obscure subconscious element which is a receptacle or passage for our dream experiences and itself also a dream builder. But behind it is the depth and mass of the subliminal, the totality of our concealed inner being and consciousness, which is of quite another order. Normally, it's a subconscious part in us, intermediate between consciousness and pure inconscience, that sends up through this surface layer its formations in the shape of dreams, constructions marked by an apparent inconsequence and incoherence. I am reading the whole para, then we will come back to it. We will try to understand what he is saying first. Many of these are fugitive structures built upon circumstances of our present life, selected apparently at random, and surrounded with a fantasy of variation. Others call back the past, or rather selected circumstances and persons of the past, as a starting point for similar fleeting edifices. There are other dreams of the subconscious which seem to be pure fantasy without any such initiation or basis. But the new method of psychoanalysis, trying to look for the first time into our dreams with some kind of scientific understanding, has established in them a system of meanings, a key to things in us which need to be known and handled by the waking consciousness. This of itself changes the whole character and value of our dream experience. It begins to look as if there was something real behind it, and as if, the one word is, I can't read, okay?
As if too that something.
If too, that something were an element of no mean practical importance. So, Shabda is saying that dreams are not really unreal. They are realities in other fields. But he is saying that our dreams can come from many places. So that he is going to discuss. Before we do that, we have to get an idea of what is meant by the subliminal consciousness. So, just as if I am standing here, there is something above me, there is something below me, there is something around me, and there is something inside me. So, this is all the reality. In many other places, Sanders has discussed that the individual is nothing but the compressed universe. And the universe is the expanded individual. Okay? Whatever is there in the universe is there in you, but in a compressed manner, in a condensed manner. So, if you think that you are just this body, mind, life, you are completely mistaken. There is something above you, there is something below you, there is something around you, and there is something inside you. So, Srinto gives the names of these as something which is below me. First is the subconscious, and then there is the inconscient. Then above me is the superconscious, and inside me is what he calls the intraconscious. That's a subliminal being. When I go deep into myself, okay, it becomes the subliminal being. And there is something around me, which is the universe, and that's the circumconscious. I can become all these things if I want. I can expand my consciousness and become the circumconscious. I can go down into my subconscious, and that's what you do in sleep every day. You go down into your subconscious, or you may go into your intraconscious. I can, by spiritual experience, go into the superconscious. So, this we have to understand. And it doesn't mean to say that these superconscious, inconscious, subconscious are unreal. They are only different states of being. Just like if I compare it to a house, and that's a very interesting image, because then it makes us understand what is the intraconscious. Okay? So, I am in my house and I have a cellar in the house. Okay? I usually don't go to the cellar, but it is there, it's a reality. All the things that I don't need, I put into the cellar. That's my subconscious. Then I am sitting in the front room and I am looking out through the windows and doors into the street. That's a circumconscious. Okay? Then the windows and doors are my senses. Through my senses, I am looking out into the physical world. Okay? Now, when I am sitting in the front room, I want to go back. I go back deep into my own house. At the behind my house, there is a kitchen garden. Okay? And that kitchen garden is open to the sky. It's not the same as the limited ground floor. Okay? It's open to the sky. That is subliminal. When you go deep into yourself, that's an intraconscious. And because it is open to the sky, it's open to the cosmic realities. So when you go into your intraconscious, that's another area. That's not unreal. It is real. So very often in your dreams, you are going into your intraconscious or you are going into your subconscious. Now, Shrevda is going to explain to us what are the dreams and from where they are coming.
If I understood correctly, sometimes in dreams, Sri Aurobindo says, you find things to be worked out.
Yes, all those things we will discuss now.
Okay.
You can get lot of hints about your own sadhana when you go into your interconscious. They will tell you your condition. These dreams will tell you your condition. They will tell you what is going to happen, and they also tell you what you should do. It's a huge, that's why dreams have to be taken very seriously when one is doing sadhana. Okay, they are of great importance. Okay, and they are also premonitory. They can also tell you what's going to happen next day, and it need not happen only to yogis. It can happen to very ordinary people also. I'll give you one example. I'm discussing this a little bit in detail because it's worth doing, and then clarity comes in. Mother gives a very interesting example. She says that in a man, a gentleman, he saw in a dream a certain person. Okay, he saw a certain person and he remembered the face. Okay, then in the morning he got up. He remembered the dream. He got up and went to his office. Okay, but that person, his face was very similar, and there was something which suggested that he is very near a coffin or something like that. I am not very clear about I don't remember, but something, the face, he was near a coffin or something like that. Okay, or his face was, anyway, let's take it this way. Okay, so then when he got up in the morning, he went to his office, and when he went to climb the lift, he suddenly saw this face that he had seen in the dream, and he also remembered the coffin. So he said, I'm not going into the lift. He felt afraid and didn't go into the lift. And that lift crashed, and that man died in the crash. He saw the same man that he saw entering the lift, and he got frightened. And he said, I won't go in. The mother has given this example. So it's a premonitory dream which saved him. So that's what I mean by premonitory dreams. Okay, so now we start looking at each sentence to see what is meaning. Okay, so for that, for what? To find out whether the dreams are real or not. For that, we have to examine, however summarily, not in detail, a little bit, the nature of sleep and of dream phenomena, their process of origination and their provenance. So, from where do they come? And what is meant by provenance? Place of origin and early history. Mm-hmm. That's what means by provenance. So he is going to look, how are they coming, the dreams? What happens in sleep is that our consciousness withdraws from the field of its waking experiences. So which is the field of its waking experiences? The circumconscious, the physical world. Okay? So from the circumconscious, your consciousness is withdrawing and going where? It is supposed to be resting, suspended, or in abeyance. But that's a superficial view of the matter. So I'm just saying, it's not that the consciousness is resting there in that same place. It's not that. The consciousness is migrating somewhere else. He's saying that in this sentence. It is supposed to be resting, suspended, or abeyance, but that's a superficial view of the matter. The consciousness is not resting. It is active, but going elsewhere. Okay? What is in abeyance is the waking activities. What is at rest is the surface mind and the normal conscious action of the bodily part of us. But the inner consciousness is not suspended. It enters into inner activities. Now that's what I meant by the intraconscious, inner activities. And those inner activities can be inside or even subconscious. Only a part of which, a part happening or recorded, is something of us that is near to the surface. So if your sleep is very shallow, not very deep, When you come out, you remember your dream. But if the consciousness is going deep inside, then you will not remember your dream.
Is that the alpha state?
Yeah, they say that. Modern science, they are saying many things.
Yeah.
REM, they say also.
Yes,
okay?
yes.
The movement of the eyes, you know that you're dreaming.
Yeah.
So those things we will leave aside now, because from those is the real vision.
It's so clear. Yes.
So he's saying that the inner consciousness is going. It's not that it's in rest at all, okay? It's going, it can go into the intraconscious. So now, there is maintained in sleep, thus near the surface, an obscure subconscious element which is a receptacle or a passage for our dream experiences, and itself also a dream builder. So what is meaning is the subconscious can build dreams for you. So that's one origin of dreams. And what is the subconscious? That also we have to understand very clearly. Everything that is happening in your life around you, okay, for instance, you are going from here to your office. In the way, there will be a car overtaking you, there will be a dog barking in the street, and you don't pay any attention to that. But it is entering into your subconscious and getting lodged there. These things of which you are not conscious, they come in and go into subconscious. And they can come up in dream. And those dreams which come from the subconscious are a little chaotic. Okay? They are unconnected things. But you can also, on the other hand, you can go into your intraconscious. That you will discuss now. Okay? So, there is maintained in sleep, thus near the surface, an obscure subconscious element which is a receptacle or passage for our dream experiences, and itself also a dream builder. But behind it is the depth and mass of the subliminal, the totality of our concealed inner being and consciousness, which is of quite another order. So, I gave you the example of the kitchen garden at the back, because it's your own house, it's your own consciousness, but you have gone and now you are in contact with the universe. So that's the subliminal. Okay? That's what he's saying. It's a concealed inner being. And the psychic being is usually even behind the intraconscious. So when you go into your being, first of all, you have an outer mind, outer body, and outer vital. But when you go slightly inside, you have an inner mind and an inner vital and even an inner body. The inner body is a subtle body. Then you go even deeper in, then you enter the intraconscious. And if you go even deeper in, that's a psychic being. So all these are the reality inside you. So in sleep, you are entering into these areas. It's not unreal at all. It's very real, but of another substance and of another field, another condition of consciousness. That's what he's saying. Okay? But behind it is the depth and mass of the subliminal, the totality of our concealed inner being and consciousness, which is of quite another order. So, it's like going into another area altogether. This is, we can understand even in the physical world. When I am at the foot of the hill, okay, the conditions are quite different. The temperature is different, the air pressure is different, everything is different. I go up onto Mount Everest, their conditions change altogether. The temperature is not the same, and there is also rarity of air. You have to breathe with difficulty. So it's another area. Exactly in the same way, the intraconscious is also just another field of your activity. Okay? So it's not unreal, it's only another area. Same is calling it another order. Normally, it's a subconscious part in us, intermediate between consciousness and pure inconscience. Now here again, you get the location. I am now fully conscious, I am reading, but below me, if I go into a sleep or I daydream, I will go into the subconscious. And even below that, if I go, it's the inconscient. So it's like again they use the image of the house, okay. The front room is your consciousness, the cellar is your subconscious, and below the subconscious is the foundation. and the foundation is the inconscient. So you can see it in that way.
good.
So now we have a clear picture of what he's saying. So normally, it's a subconscious part in us, intermediate between consciousness and pure inconscience, that sends up through the surface layer its formations in the shape of dreams, constructions marked by an apparent inconsequence and incoherence. That's why they are chaotic. Dreams that come from the subconscious are chaotic and often unconnected.
What if they're reoccurring? The same dream.
The dreams that recur have a meaning and a purpose. Otherwise, they wouldn't recur. And they come from the intraconscious, not the subconscious. Dreams that recur is very common. Many people have recurring dreams.
Yes.
Okay. There's one person who sees always, I am missing my train. Okay. So I used to see also images where recurring all the time. Same image, same image, same image. I won't go into details of which image it was because then we'll get diverted from our subject. So that's another very interesting area to examine your own dreams. Very, very interesting area. Okay. So anyway, so apparent inconsequence and incoherence. Many of these are fugitive structures built upon circumstances of our present life, selected apparently at random and surrounded with a fantasy of variation. Okay. In fact, these dreams, animals will be talking to you, or plants will be walking, all this sort of thing is possible. Fantasy, same this saying. In fact, it's not uncommon. These things can happen. Okay, so are fugitive structures. They don't have any real purpose or anything. They are fugitive structures built upon circumstances of our present life, selected apparently at random, and surrounded by a fantasy of variation. Other dreams, call back the past, or rather selected circumstances and persons of the past as a starting point for similar fleeting edifices. So the past will come up very much. Okay, and this is very interesting because with old age, okay, the past which is actually dead for you becomes again alive. It becomes real.
Yes.
So there is a famous case of, many cases are there. They feel, I'll tell you a very interesting example of my sister also. When she had a paralysis, we used to go and see her every day in Desiree. Okay? And one day I found her, she's crying. She's crying. I said, why are you crying? She says, all of you are coming to see me. All my family members are coming to see me. But why is my father not coming to see me? So I had to, and she is in a conscious, she is semi-paralyzed, the brain has been affected. I told her, our father has passed away 10 years ago. Then a smile came on her face and she understood. Okay? So this past coming and becoming real is happening in real life. It can happen very much in sleep also. There is you remember Gauriji?
Oh, yeah.
Sunil's wife. You remember Gauriji, na?
Gauri.
Sunil's, not Gauri, our Gauri.
Oh, not.
So when she became quite old, she was 80, 88 or so, all the past became real for her. And she's saying that he came to see me, we had a talk. All past things are becoming real to her. So that's what they're saying also. This is what happens. The past comes up, or rather selected circumstances and persons of the past as a starting point for similar fleeting edifices. There are other dreams of the subconscious which seem to us to be pure fantasy, without any such initiation or basis. But the new method of psychoanalysis, he is talking particularly of, he is mentioning Sigmund Freud, because Freud is the first one in the West who examined the dreams, and he found in the dreams that there are very often hints about the illness which the person had. So he is referring to that. Okay, so but the new method of psychoanalysis, trying to look for the first time into dream, look at the word first time.
Yeah.
It's an initial attempt. Okay, in the West,
Yes.
into our dreams, with some kind of scientific understanding, has established in them a system of meanings, a key to things in us which need to be known and handled by the waking consciousness. There you are. Very clearly, the dreams that come from the intraconscient have meaning and purpose. And they can be of great help to one in your ordinary life. I gave the example of a premonitory dream. So it has a purpose. It is warning you that you better be careful. Okay, so this of itself changes the whole character and value of our dream experience. It begins to look as if there was something real behind it, and what's that word? I don't know, it's written in my text.
As if it too.
As if too, that something were an element of no mean practical importance. It's got great importance.
Interesting.
So we have done this, and we'll do something. We'll read the summary of this one so that it becomes in a condensed manner we know what he's saying.
And this is an extraordinary day.
Very interesting para.
Thank you.
And even things that are to come are very interesting.
Yes.
Srivadeva is always interesting if you go into details. Okay? Because he often says things in a very summary manner. But if you go into detail and understand the background, then it becomes very interesting. So, what he said in this question. Another question, what we read, the para we read just now, I am summarizing for you. Okay? Another question arises against the supposition in the analogy that dreams are unreal and without significance. Could dreams not be figures, image records, symbolic transcripts, representation of realities? Could they not be that? That's what Srivadeva is asking and is discussing. Let us then examine the nature of sleep and dreams briefly. From where do dreams originate? So now that's what he is examining. What happens in sleep is that the surface waking consciousness retires into the inner being, leaving the surface passive. The consciousness enters the subliminal and sends its data through the subconscious, which is a layer between the surface waking consciousness and the inconscient. Itself a dream builder, the subconscious itself a dream builder, the subconscious records imperfectly the inner being events and presents them to the surface as things without consequence and significance. If they come from the subconscious, they are chaotic. Okay? Many dreams refer to present day events and some to the past. Some dreams seem to be pure fantasy. Okay? If they come from the subconscious. But modern psychology in the West seems to find some meaning in dreams and considers that dreams contain keys to the hidden behavior and nature of the dreamer. That changes entirely the normal ideas of dreams as unreal and fantasies. Dreams do seem to have importance and significance. This is what he said in the para. We can read the next para.
We can read it. Just read it.
Yeah.
And then next week you'll explain.
Yeah. We'll do that. But the subconscious is not our sole dream builder. The subconscious in us is the extreme border of our secret inner existence where it meets the inconscient. It's a degree of our being in which the inconscient struggles into a half consciousness. The surface physical consciousness also, when it sinks back from the waking level and retrogresses towards the inconscient, retires into this intermediate subconscious. Okay? Or from another viewpoint, this nether part of us may be described as the antechamber of the inconscient, through which its formations rise into our waking or our subliminal being. When we sleep, and the surface physical part of us, which is in its first origin here an output of the inconscient, relapses towards the originating inconscience, it enters into the subconscious element, antechamber or substratum. And there it finds the impressions of its past or persistent habits of mind and experiences. Now that's very interesting. He's saying persistent habits also go into the subconscious and they don't die. That's why there are all sorts of persistent habits. Like, for instance, he has discussed this elsewhere, but I am just mentioning. What does he mean by persistent habits? Some people have, facial expressions which go on changing. And you have, in India we call them mudra dosh. Okay? So somebody will be twitching, for instance. Like that. There is a person who used to do that. He used to always do like this. Arjun Bhai. This is coming from the subconscious. It's not dead. It's coming up. So all habits are from the subconscious. So you have to clear the subconscious, and that's what Srivastava is doing. You remember? In God's labor, that's what he's doing.
Yes.
Clearing the subconscious of all old habits.
Yes.
So the subconscious is a very important part of us. Okay. So anyway, and there it finds impressions of its past or persistent habits of mind and experiences. For all have left their mark on our subconscious part and have there a power of recurrence. Very clear, power of recurrence. So if you have a bad habit or a good habit, that's why they say it is better to associate yourself with good people so that these things go into your subconscious, and the subconscious is a mechanism for repeating your things. So if you put in good habits, you will benefit. The subconscious is very, very powerful. Okay, that's what he's mentioning. For all have left their mark on our subconscious part and have there a power of recurrence. Now note this, very interesting, interpreted correctly. What he's saying is that everything happens in your life, everything is recorded. It's not that you have not noticed, it is recorded in the subconscious. I give you the example of a dog barking in the street and a car overtaking you and someone having a quarrel on the pavement. All this also goes into your subconscious. You are not paying any attention to it, but it's going into your subconscious. Okay, so in its effect on our waking self, this recurrence often takes the form of a reassertion of old habits, impulses dormant or suppressed, rejected elements of the nature, or it comes up as some other, not so easily recognizable, some peculiar disguise or subtle result of these suppressed or rejected but not erased impulses or elements. In the dream consciousness, the phenomenon is an apparently fanciful construction, a composite of figures and movements built upon or around the buried impressions with a sense in them that escapes the waking intelligence because it has no clue to the subconscious system of significances. After a time, this subconscious activity appears to sink back into complete inconscience, and we speak of this state as deep dreamless sleep. As deep dreamless sleep, thence we emerge again into the dream shallows or return to the waking surface. So this...
Ranga, this has been so enlightening, so wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Namaste all. We'll see you next Saturday.